Here are your Court News Ohio top stories in 5 minutes. The Ohio Supreme Court will hear a stalking case that's drawn national attention for a judge banning a man from mentioning his mother or sister on social media. In November 2017, a Mercer County judge issued a civil protection order for the two women after the man accused them of killing their husbands or conspiring to cover up the deaths. The allegations were made online and on a billboard ad near one woman's home. The 3rd District Court of Appeals affirmed the trial court's decision for the man to keep his distance physically and digitally, stating the defendant knowingly acted in a way that led the victims to believe he would cause them mental distress or physical harm. The state's high court will determine whether additional language in the protection order regarding future online postings is an unconstitutional prior restraint on free speech. As Human Trafficking Awareness Month recently concluded, survivors spent each day in January telling stories about how their struggles began. For those who wind up in the judicial system, they all have a haunting history of abuse.
No little girl said, "Oh, I want to grow up and be a prostitute." It took pain and hurt.
In many cases, those vulnerabilities began when they were abused or neglected as children. Some of them arrive in Summit County Juvenile Judge Linda Teodosio's courtroom.
I can certainly relate to some of the insecurities that young women feel as they become teenagers and young adults.
Almost all of the participants in the state's certified human trafficking courts have been girls or women. In practically all of those cases, they were exploited by men. The result is a gender disconnect.
Many of our women need to learn how to relate to men in other than a sexual way.
Akron Municipal Judge Ron Cable deals with victims who were arrested for crimes like solicitation, drug possession, and theft. As part of probation to treat post-traumatic stress disorder, substance use, and mental health issues, accountability is necessary. But it comes with particular challenges when a woman is being punished again by a man.
Sometimes that can be very difficult to figure out, when to sanction someone and when to give them a little bit more time.
Fortunately for survivors, with time comes more comfort and clarity. Within a holistic rehabilitation program, that bridge for intergender reconnection can come from anywhere, like a judge, attorney, clinician, or police officer.
It's important for them to experience the support of a man who's not looking for something in return.
Participants who progress in recovery sense that growth. On top of their successes, they see the accomplishments of those supporting them and develop a sense of promise they haven't felt since their vicious cycle started as children.
We're opening up the gates of hope for them, that they can see that just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I can't achieve a high goal that I have for myself.
Akron Municipal Judge Ron Cable recently joined only a handful of other jurists in the state to have a human trafficking specialized docket certified by the Ohio Supreme Court.
We need to work really hard and figure out, more creative ways of handling, criminal defendants.
He titled it RISE, which stands for Restore Individual Self-Empowerment. The January certification came at an appropriate time, during Human Trafficking Awareness Month. To move forward, Judge Cable looked to influences from the past. He was a magistrate at Summit County Juvenile Court when it started the state's first human trafficking court for minors. He then shadowed the state's first specialty docket dedicated to survivors in Franklin County. Among the priorities in a sound plan to the state's high court is social support, namely local services aiding program participants with legal and personal troubles. From nothing, 20 partners now work with RISE.
We're going to treat a problem that is truly a community problem with a community response.
Survivors are among those supporting the women of RISE. Angel Daig was in and out of courtrooms for years, stuck in the cycle of substance use issues and exploitation.
They begin to beat me and control me. By that time, I was sucked in by then.
Angel's face and story are familiar to the 14 women enrolled in the program. She's hopeful that her path to a better life, paired with a new avenue in the RISE program, can lead others to follow her on a similar path to safety and sobriety.
They actually have compassion and understand better where these women are coming from.
And that's a look at Court News Ohio's top stories. Visit courtnewsohio.gov for the latest headlines on Ohio's courts. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter.